It's been a while since I've done a video, but I figured I'd do something over simple genetics since a lot of people are first-time breeders. This way it can kind of go over some of the definitions that you should know for like certain traits and stuff like that. So when I set this up, I had nowhere to stand in my house because of the way my lighting is. So everywhere I stood, it cast a shadow. So currently you are sitting between two of my leopard geckos with a fish tank light over you. So I guess whatever works. So I'll get this started by starting with two definitions. One being phenotype. Phenotype is basically what you see. So it's like that person has blonde hair and blue eyes. You don't know the makeup of that, you just know that's what that is. It's what it's outwardly showing, is phenotype. Genotype is what you can't see. It's the code. So you don't see that the blonde hair had to have this many genes on this part, or it was this type of gene, yada yada. So genotype is what you can't see. Phenotype is what you can see. I don't know if I'll use those words that much. I'm probably going to, so it was probably a good thing I did say it. But I'll go ahead and start on this. So we're going to talk about the different types of genes. So the first one I'm going to go over is dominant. So this is the one that basically usually covers up any gene that is present. So usually if a parent presents with a dominant gene, most times that gene is going to be what shows in the offspring. Now obviously there's certain things that are going to happen that could change that. So like you could breed, I'm just going to talk leopard geckos now, you could breed a het trimper albino with another het trimper albino, and of course 75% of those babies are going to be normal, or whatever the dominant gene that they had was, but you also have the 25% chance that a albino could pop out. But we're just saying, like, if we bred a normal with no hets to an albino, all those babies are going to be normal because normal is a dominant trait. And we'll go over what albino is, but there are a few dominant traits in leopard geckos, so of course normal, wild type, whatever you want to call it. And then we've got enigma and white and yellow. All of these are one of those that can cover up a trait, or they'll just add to it, whatever, but those are considered dominant traits. The next one I'm going to go over is recessive. So these are the ones that can be hidden. So whenever I say het, that is short for heterozygous, which means two different traits. So there's a dominant trait and a recessive trait hidden in there. So whenever you say het, you cannot see the recessive gene. But with recessives, let's see, I got some Hershey's Kisses to kind of help with this, and you'll see the significance of that. So we're going to say that red, ooh, you can't see that, red is dominant, and we're going to say silver is recessive. So with recessive genes, like I said before, if we bred, oh, and I guess a little layout, these are chromosomes. This is what a chromosome is shaped like, and we're not really going to go into the whole significance of this, yada yada yada. I just used it as a standpoint so I could use it for demonstration. So we're going to say this is a dominant. It's got two dominant traits. Oops. And then this one's going to be recessive. So whenever we breed these two together, if you know how to do Punnett squares, yada yada, you know that 100% of the babies are going to be that, which is heterozygous for whatever this recessive trait was. But then if you breed these two together, you get a 25% chance of them being completely dominant, like the first parent, like that, this one, or you got another 25% chance of them being this, recessive, visceral recessive, and then you've got 50% chance that they're going to be heterozygous. So that's, I'm not really sure how to go over that much more than that. There are a couple, actually there are quite a few recessive genes in leopard geckos, the first one being albino, and I will touch on that a little bit more than what I'm doing here. So there are three strains of albino. There's trimper albino, bell albino, and rainwater albino. So I'm going to talk about those. So these are kind of special. You cannot breed a bell to a trimper or a trimper to a rainwater, etc. they have to be matching albino strains, and this is why. So, certain genes are located on different parts of the allele. So we're going to say that these are now trimper. The reds are trimper. So, in order to have a visual trimper, they have to line up on the same, like, kind of parallel on the chromosome. But if you bred, let's say, we're going to say this is how rainwater is set up. So these pink ones are rainwater. If you bred these two together, you're going to have something that looks a little bit like this. So there's no lining up. So with a recessive gene, the genes have to line up to be visual. So when this happens, you just produced a het double albino, which is kind of frowned upon because when you breed those and say you're testing or something, you don't know what just popped out. All the albinos look the same. There's no way of knowing. So with that, those are the ones that we say do not breed because there's just no way. So albino is one of the recessives. We've got blizzard. I'm probably going to miss a bunch. We've got eclipse. Let's see. I'm trying to run through my brain. I know I was going to draw a blank. I should have wrote them all down. Let's see. Patternless is another one. Sorry if I missed some. I'm drawing a blank. I think Marble Eye is recessive. So I think that covers it all. I might be wrong. I'm sorry if I missed some. But you can always look it up online. It'll tell you what type of gene it is. So we're going to move on to the next one, which this one I can't really explain through demonstration. This one is polygenic. So this covers kind of like the super hypo, tangerine, carrot tails. So obviously each one of those is a different gene. So when you translate polygenic, poly means multiple and then genic of course means gene. So whenever we were saying super hypo is a trait that completely blocks out all the spots on the back. Tangerine is a line bred thing that produces more orange. Then we've got carrot tail, which produces more orange on the tail, and then we've got baldy, which reduces spots on the head. So when you slap all of those together, you've got super hypo, carrot tail, tangerine, baldy. So that is considered a polygenic line bred trait. So I can't really demonstrate that one. It's just one of those. I always say polygenics is like line breeding. I'm sure I'm wrong, but that's how I've always seen it. So this is where we're going to start getting a little more complicated. So the next one we're going to go over is codominant. So there's really no good way for me to explain this one with leopard geckos. There is rumor that certain traits are codominant, but from what I've learned about codominants, I don't see any that are in leopard gecko genetics. So the way codominance is described is like, say you breed a white cow with a brown cow. All the offspring are going to be white and brown spotted. So basically, both genes are showing in some way, shape, or form. So there's really no gene that I've seen that I would consider codominant. I know online it says giant is a codominant trait, but I believe it's not. I think it's right there with Max Snow, and I'll talk about that next, so I'll go ahead and move along with that one. The next type is incomplete dominant. So this basically is whenever no gene is taking over the other. It's kind of a blend. So kind of like the good old story back when we were in middle school talking about genetics, where Mendel crossed a white pea plant and a red pea plant, and he got pink pea plants. So obviously the red wasn't controlling it, the white wasn't controlling it, they ended up blending. So that is incomplete dominant. So with incomplete dominance, you get super forms, you'll get the heterozygous form, and then you'll get a normal that has nothing in it. And this is where Max Snow sets. Max Snow has a super form as the Super Snow. Its heterozygous form is Max Snow, and it's, I guess, double recessive. I don't know. It's the normal. It has no snow in it. So, and I'll talk about those crosses. So we're going to say silver, and I put it up there again. Silver is going to be Super Snow. Pink is going to be Max Snow. And then red is going to be normal. So, we're just going to talk Max Snow because I know for sure that I am shedding all over this, that is an incomplete dominant trait. I don't think my phone is staying in focus, and I'm very sad. There we go. Okay, so we're going to say that we breed a super snow. I'm trying to make sure this stays. And the alignment on the allele thing with this, I'm sure they're aligned. I never looked into it that much, but it's not as big a deal as albino. But okay, so if we breed a super snow with a normal, what you end up getting, you're not going to cross these up. You're just getting a mixture of the two. So I had silver and red, so now we've got pink. So this is the max snow. So really the way that should be set up, in a way, is the red and silver, whichever way you want to do it. Because whenever you cross these again, it's not going to be all pinks. It's going to be a mixture of these. So that's where you can get, if you breed two max snows together, so we're going to do this because this is the heterozygous form. When you cross two max snows together, this is your layout, you're going to get some that are super snow. Well, here, let's do this. I've got so many Hershey's Kisses, I don't know why I'm working with the same 6. So we've got super snows, and I'm just going to go ahead and use the pink again because, I'm losing my mind. The other 50% of the babies is going to be just like these, so you're going to get max snow, so I'm just going to use the pink again. And then the other 25% that you're going to get are all going to be normals again. So these have no snow in them. You could cross these into anything, and they're not going to produce any snows. There's no het for it. There's no nothing, because it's one of those genes. It's not hidden. It's there. It's either you have it or you don't. So with that being said, obviously max snow is an incomplete dominant trait, and they say giant is a codominant, but because giant has a super form, pretty much anything with a super form other than super hypo is supposed to be incomplete dominant traits. I personally believe giants fall within the incomplete dominant trait. I don't see how they can be codominant, since if you breed codominant offspring, they're all supposed to be the same type of thing. So going back to my old thing of breeding the white cow to the brown cow, I'm going to go ahead and just put this over here since we're talking about it. You're going to get the white and brown spotted cows. If you breed those white and brown spotted cows together, theoretically you're supposed to get white and brown spotted cows. So I don't believe that we have any codominant traits in leopard geckos, but online they say that giant is codominant. I don't know. So I think max snow, I'm not sure how the other snows work. I think they're a little different. But I know max snow is an incomplete dominant trait. I don't think we have any other ones. And once again, I could be wrong. I did not write these things down, and I should have. But hopefully this short little video, and I don't think it's been recording this entire... Oh, yeah, it has. Oop, I gotta edit that out. I hope this little video helped.